Hey, someone sent me Buzz Rossfield's number. Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Day Sports. My name is Chris, and we've got plenty of footy chat to get through this week. Round one wrapped up, so we're going to have a little bit of a recap, bit of footy news, and of course tips and predictions for. So jump forward if you need.
Buzz Rossfield.
So I haven't got like the full nitty gritty details of this one, but it looks like Kalyn Ponga is turning coats across the ditch over to New Zealand. It looks like he's trying to switch allegiances, which is now possible for Origin and all that sort of stuff internationally. I think he's floated the idea anyway, but he seems to be the first like real high profile player that's come out saying that he'd like to move over. This one's been on the cards for a little bit. I feel like he's hummed and hard about it and hasn't been 100% sure if he's committed to Australia. It was a couple of years ago where the NRL basically held a gun to him and was just like, mate, this is fucking disgraceful if you don't go play for bloody fucking Australia. Like Melbourne Ingers asking you to play, and the moment that he was like, yeah, okay, fine, I'll play, they're like, yeah, no, we're not picking you anyway, bud. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether or not a lot more players are going to follow suit. You know, I feel like a lot of the players that have already, you know, committed to like Pacifica nations have already done that. I feel like particularly a lot of the big stars. There might be some small ones that are up in the wings. Like, I can't really off the top of my head think of too many that might go play for New Zealand. There's probably a few players that, you know, could possibly go play for them and then still have the ability to get picked in Origin. But I feel like it's really going to be few and far between. I can't imagine there's going to be tons. So for say New Zealand fans are going to be frothing at the idea of KP running out in a bloody Kiwis jersey, though, that's for sure. We might as well get into some of the recaps from round one, or at least this kind of second part of round one after the Vegas games. Two clubs got absolutely annihilated. Season's over already. I feel for them, honestly. So I want to talk about those, and then I'll talk about the rest of the games. But obviously, two teams' seasons completely over. For the Eels, they got knocked out in the first game of round one by the Storm. And then a couple of days later, Titans got done in by the Sharks as well. I cannot honestly imagine being an Eels fan. Like, 2 seasons in a row this has happened to you. Like, first round and all hope's lost. Everything's over. Pack it all up, go home because she's done. She's cooked, put a fork in it. It's basically what's happened to the Eels here. So it'd be rough. And I watched the game with the Melbourne Storm fan as well, and I'm like, this is just what they have come accustomed to year in, year out. Like, imagine coming into the year just being so confident, basically a 99% chance that you're going to win round one. Just rolling and going, yeah, don't worry about it. It's 24, I believe, on the trot. For the Undertaker, Craig Bellyache himself, like, he's out there, streaks continued. He hasn't found his Brock Lesnar to beat that yet. Yeah, like every other club's like, oh, I wonder how we're going to go. I wonder how this is going to look, all pan out. New players, new coach, whatever the situation is. And Storm's just like, yeah, round one, no worries. Thanks for coming. And the Eels, I felt like nearly hoodwinked a few people. There was many people that were starting to go, oh, and, you know, myself included, just kind of been like, there might be something in the air here. Like, I think even day of, I was talking to people at work about, you know, who's going to win, who's going to score tries, this, that, and everything. Harry Grant was a lock, that's for sure. But I was like, honestly, I might put the Eels, you know, to cover the line here. I feel like they might. Later in the day, common sense kicked in a little bit, and I was like, oh, they got no chance. And that's exactly what happened. Now, as for the Titans, they're a team that I feel like I just lent towards because I want them to go well. And I tend to tip over the Sharks anyway. If anyone's been around for any amount of time, it's kind of a bit of an ongoing joke, I suppose, in a way, that I just tip against the Sharks. It is what it is. Sometimes I don't have any rhyme or reason. Sometimes it's completely out of spite. So there's that part of it. So don't take it too seriously when I do go against the Sharks. Yes, deep down they are a decent enough football side. And I probably should have picked them over the Titans. But the Titans, every single year, I just want them to do well, particularly new coaches, some new players or emerging players. Tino's firing, this and that. They've gone well in trials, and it was the biggest wall pull of all time because they've gone out there and they've disappointed everyone again. And it does really hurt me to say it because I really want them to do well, particularly as a Queensland side. Tino deserves more. That's the main thing. Big Tino, the mirror of the GC, he deserves so much more than what he's getting at the moment. And have the season scratched out in literally the first game, it's just really not a great start. But yeah, the Titans, they seem to just take it on in stride more so than the Eels. Or maybe it's just the fan base, because the Eels fans, I swear, were scrambling for copium left, right and centre. They're pulling up records from the Super League where teams got beaten 50 and went on to win, and it's like, well, that's just not the same thing, is it? The Super League and the NRL are wildly different comps. you know, I know you want to try to find a little bit of hope, but she's gone. One thing I really did like in the Sharks game, it was my old man's 60th, so I kind of had one eye on that, one eye on beers and a bit of cob loaf. But I thought that Kennedy had scored like literally 6 tries in a matter of 20, 30 minutes until I started actually looking at the TV a little bit closer, and I was like, that's like a Braden Trindle, the shaved head flying through, aerodynamic as all hell. He had an absolute day out. We might have unlocked a new mythical player in bald Braden Trindle. But no, Sharkies, they did very, very well. Moving on to the other games for round 1. I'm trying not going to linger on these ones too much. Some I watch more than others, some I completely miss. So I'll just go through my little highlights of things that I want to chat about. And then we'll get into tips and predictions for this round. So on the Friday night, so the 2 games on there, tip 1 correct, did not tip my Broncos in this, but the Warriors, they managed to just give to the Roosters over there across the ditch. I just had a feeling. And that was really a big feeling tip in that one. So missing halves, a lot to be talked up about the Roosters, but at home, baby, they are a force to be reckoned with. Like, literally never doubt the Warriors at home. Like, the amount of teams that should go over there and beat them, and especially on paper beat them, and they're just able to get it done. I love that Leka Halasima is becoming just an absolute cult hero over there in New Zealand. He had an outstanding season last year, scored one of the most amazing tries, one of the game-winning tries last year, and he goes out there in this game, first touch, up high, headgear on, slams that ball down. Thank you very much for coming. Like, the future of that dude and his skill ability is ridiculous. Considering he was coming off the bench, that really puts him in their place, being like, yeah, off the bench, son, but yeah, go Leka. And then there was the Broncos losing to the Panthers. I was scared coming into this game. Like, a lot of people ask me, like, oh, how do you think the Broncos are going to go? Whatever. Like I'm some expert. But there's a little bit of fear, and I feel like that's still stuck around from the 2023 grand final. Yes, we knocked him out in the finals last season, but you always knew Penrith are going to be well and truly up for this one. And yeah, that's exactly what they did. They're a bloody good side. People have blown this out of proportion. They want Madge's head. They think Jesse Arthur should be straight back in this side. Jack the Chicken Man should be cut. Like, this, that, and everything else. And it's like, yeah, it wasn't the greatest performance of all time. All the players, I'm sure, have had fun running hill sprints or something from Madge after the weekend. But it's against Penrith. They're a really good side. It is what it is. You're not going to win them all. The only thing that really hurts me, losing sucks, sure, but it's the mistakes. It's the drop balls. It's not completing the sets. But, you get that on the big jobs. It was basically a trial. If anything needs to be investigated, it is, one, where was the hand sticky spray? I feel like a few players had balls go to the ground or whatever. I think Ezra was like, bruh, like, what is going on? This thing is slippery as. It would have been humid as fuck. The dew point would have been through the roof. A little bit of rain, so it would have been an absolute bastard to handle. But it makes me really wonder, like, the drop balls, the lack of sticky spray, not having the blue shirts out there as much. Are we going to see a lot more drop nut this season? Because, yeah, who is giving out the sticky spray if it ain't those fellas running out there every other minute? But Penrith really, really good. You can't take that away from them. And, yeah, just you can't win them all. Raiders beating Manly 29-28. I love to see it, particularly at home. Something about Manly, it's similar with Dragons for me in a way. I just like to see them lose. I didn't exactly, again, watch this game to its full extent. Kind of had one eye on other things, but it was looking all but done there for the the Raiders for a bit. Like, again, having a bit of a look at it, tipping them. They started out not so great. I was like, oh, well, there goes that tip. All of a sudden, we're winding straight down to Golden Point. Ethan Colonel Sanders steps up and just slots it. I'm like, yes, son, get in there. Thank you very much for the super coach and fantasy points. But I just love that from the young fella. In previous seasons against the Broncos and whatever else, like, I was wondering what was going to happen there, because you got Jamal Fogarty now on the Manly side, who wasn't exactly Mr. Iceman himself with field goals, and I'm like, who's going to step up on this Canberra side? And here comes the young fella, just goes, yeah, no worries, bang. I swear the players were unsure if it went over. Like, they didn't really be like, oh my God, he's won it. It was just kind of everyone standing around going, and I didn't even know if it had gone over until we saw the replay. And sure enough, sails between the posts. And you're like, yes, sir. But yeah, unlucky for Manly. The Rabbithos beat the Finns 40-30. I, not going to lie, this was a hell of a game to watch. Just exciting stuff. Would have been sick to go see it at Suncorp. I was a little bit scared. There was a period of time there. I'm glad the points started to slow down because I was worried that I was going to see another team have the 50-point curse put on them in the first round, which just would have been ridiculous. Not only adding on top of that, but you had 4 Queensland teams lose in round 1. Yes, it is only round 1, but one of them's had the 50-point curse on them, so not exactly a great start. Yeah, I'd like to say shout out to Cody Walker and his massive Mitch Johnson stash that's going on there. He had an unreal game. So he was scoring tries, assists, this, that, and everything down that left edge. The left edge for the Bunnies just looked ridiculous at this point. Like, Walker's always been super dangerous on there. Adding in Latrell Mitchell for feeder running amok, and you got old AJ out there just scoring tries. Probably could have scored another 3 or 4 more if clearly the fucking South Sydney Rabbithos must have had the trainer with the sticky spray, because Latrell Mitchell was not passing that ball at all. Yeah, I reckon he probably could have broke that record. I think he had a little bit of a dig, like a jokingly dig at Trell after the game, so that was pretty funny, but save the big one for the Roosters, I suppose. Alrighty, let's get into my round 2 tips and predictions. Now, this is not going to be, the most analytical thing of all time, so if you've come for that, sorry to disappoint. I'm just going to go through my thoughts on each of these games, who I think is going to win and who's going to be scoring the tries. Thursday night gives opportunity for redemption for both of these sides, Brisbane Broncos versus the Parramatta Eels. I'm going to go obviously with my Broncos, but I'm going to go with them 13 plus in this one. I must say, on top of that, I am a little bit terrified of the Eels coming off an absolute shellacking. They're going to be looking for a bounce back like you would not believe, and I feel like the Eels are one of those sides the Broncos have just kind of either not taken fully serious, or we play down to their level, and it is down to their level at this stage. So I'm a little bit interested to see how this is going to go, but I do think we're going to be able to win it. I am contemplating actually whether or not I do get a ticket to this. It is not too far away. It would be nice. First game of the season, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, again, I feel like people need to woo up a little bit on the Broncos. Like, again, they've basically listed out, I think, the exact same team that they played last week, and people are like, again, why is there no Jesse Arthurs? These people should be cut. Jack the Chicken Man needs to go. And it's like, guys, if they continue to have shockers, or if they have a really bad one, sure. But it's like, again, it's Penrith. What are you going to do? I like that Ezra Mam has been named at the 6. I hope they do start with him in there. Hopefully they figure out a little bit more chemistry around the halves. But again, it was only their first game last week. They didn't exactly have the trials and this and that. And some of that's only going to come along. I just hope we do get it done, because, again, the Eels are going to be trying so hard to get us done. If we don't perform enough in this one, or we lose, touch wood, that doesn't happen, but people are going to be coming for Madge already. Don't worry about Todd Payton. Don't worry about anyone else. It's literally just going to be like, Madge needs to go. But honestly, with the attack that the Brisbane Broncos have, and the leakiness, obviously, of the Eels at this stage, if anything, I'd be having head noise as an Eels fan, especially if you're going to the game. Shout out to All the Balls podcast, because, you fellas might be having a little bit of head noise in general with that after the 50 points being put on. But there is a world that the Broncos go out and do the damn same thing. And if they take 250 points in a row, cut them from the comp, send them back, because that'd be just ridiculous. Again, we head over to New Zealand for the Wars versus the Raiders. I'm really excited for this one. Oh, and on the last game, I'm going to go with Tony Staggs to score anytime. Wars versus Raiders, I'm pretty excited for this one. I feel like it's probably going to be one of the best games of the round. I feel like these two teams are going to be like quite similar matched up against each other. Like, if you look at the two forward packs that are heading at each other, like, they have some real big boppers in there. I'd say probably two of the best forward packs to the comp are coming up against each other in this game. Now, the Raiders are obviously coming off a really, really tough golden point battle there. So it's going to be interesting how much of that, how much was taken out of them in that game. They would have redlined all of them playing, probably like really had to push to even get the damn thing done. Meanwhile, the Warriors coming off a pretty cruisy victory. Their confidence is going to be coming into this. So I'm going to be back at the Wars 1-12 in this one. I'm going to be back at Lecker to score again, but I'm super keen for this game. And just quickly adding on in relation to the forwards, though, no big papa being there for the Raiders, no big warhorse. I feel like that is a massive out in there. Like, yes, they still got a super quality forward pack. Big old papa, he's been there, done that. So not having that experience and just grit and size in there, I feel like that could tip things in Warriors' favour. Blockbuster of the round, Roosters versus Rabbithos, a clash as old as time, as old as rugby league basically itself. But I've really kind of flipped and flopped on who I want to be taking in this one. I have decided, though, to go at the home team. I'm going to go at the Roosters to win. A lot of people are going to be horny and heavy for the Rabbitohs, especially the way that they performed. Both of these teams let in a lot of points, so it's not given me a whole lot of confidence on either of their defences at this stage. But I feel like the Roosters have... And, I probably should look at the stats before I say this, but I feel like they've kind of had it over the Rabbitohs, particularly in this clash. It might be a very new-looking Rabbitohs team that just goes out there and blows them out of the water. That could very well happen as well, but something tells me the Roosters in this. Like, both of these teams, they've had another week to kind of marinate, get their way around things. I feel like both of them have points in them galore, that's for sure. So it might very much, be the old Cowboys shootout where it's like, fuck you, we're not really going to defend much, but we're just going to score more points than you. So it could very much go that way. And if it is, I'm going to go with Mark Nwangi Tawase to score. I don't think he scored at all last week, so he's due. Tigers versus Cowboys. This one, bit of a rivalry clash, I feel like, considering going all the way back those years. But I like when these guys play at Leichhardt. It is at the Bermuda Triangle or Woo Stadium, so anything can happen here. I am going to be back at the Tigers because after what I saw of the Cowboys, they're straight up spoon material. Tigers are coming in fresh as. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are probably jet lag still coming back from Vegas. And again, I feel like it is very much going to be a battle of who can score more points in this one. And I'm going to be back at the Tigers in this. I feel like their young team that's coming through, they're really starting, I feel like, to find a little bit of gear. I don't know if they're really going to be a world beater again this year, but I can see them improving a little bit at some youngsters that are coming through. I like Jerome Luai moving back into the six where he's just a handful. I think that left edge is going to be a real problem. Yeah, it's going to be rocks or diamonds, I feel like, for the Cowboys. And again, just with it being at Bermuda Triangle at Leichhardt, that's GG's for the Cowboys. That's pretty much all I got to say. And he's playing in the centre, but Makasini, enjoy having fun with that one. I feel like the young fella's just going to run over people. If you've got him in your super coach, you'll be licking your lips because he's going to get over any time. The Dargans versus the Storm, another team returning over from Vegas after a disappointing loss to the Bulldogs. I've got to do it though. I'm going Storm 13 plus. I feel after last week where a lot of if, ands or buts about them have all been put to sleep by Craig the Undertaker Bellyache. He silenced all of those. Anyone even questioning them at this stage and the changes or the new players coming through. One thing that I do like about this game, it is at Woo Woo Win Stadium, and particularly after putting 50 points on a team, it really would be part of the script, part of the narrative for Storm to lose to a team like the Dragons. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like if there's going to be a loss, it's going to be after an absolute annihilation, but it could very well go the other way as well. We might see Storm put 50-point curse back-to-back on teams. As for try scorers, I'm going to go Suafa'alogo to score in this one. He's going to goose step 1, 2, 3 people, maybe a little chip and chase. Who knows? He's a little pocket rocket, but he's going to get over. Penrith Panthers versus the Sharpies. I was looking at this, I was like, is Penrith Stadium fixed yet? What's going on there? But it's out at like bloody Bathurst or something like that. I'm going to go Penrith 1-12 in this. I'm very keen to see where both of these teams are at. I feel like I can comfortably sit there and go, yep, this is where Penrith's at. As for the Sharks, maybe not so much. It's like, yes, cool, you went out there and you absolutely flogged the Titans, but is that saying much? Maybe the Titans are a world-beating team and you're really, really good, but I don't feel like that's going to be the case. So going up in a real challenge against a team like Penrith, I think that's going to be perfect for them. And I think, did Penrith knock them out in the finals last year, or was that Canberra? Whatever. But I'm going to go with Penrith again in this one. I feel like it is going to be a good matchup. Yeah, you got the mythical Chin versus the mythical Trindle with the bald head in this one. Nice little battle in the halves. It will be interesting. I feel like Penrith are going to be able to do similar to what they did with the Broncos and choke the life out of them basically, and potentially put on a little bit of a score. And I'm going to go with Tommy Jenkins to score anytime. Manly versus the Newcastle Knights. Newcastle, again, back from Vegas. I'm going to be going with them 1-12, but honestly, with not a whole lot of confidence at all. I, again, flipped coins on this. I was looking into the Scene Stones. I was looking into Hourglasses. Whatever I could look into to try to figure out who I think is going to win this one. What does the bookie say? When in doubt, you should probably have a gaze at that. They're fair favourites. They're fair favourites over the Knights, so they're paying $1.57 to $2.41. That is insane. No Fletcher Sharp for the Knights. I feel like that takes away a lot of attack, which I don't particularly love. And I just love seeing that guy play. Manly, though, being such big favourites for the way that they lost, last week. And it's very well in them to lose to the Knights at home again. Like, if there's a game that Manly's going to lose, it's going to be one like this. But I feel like it's going to be a pretty simple formula, though. Like, if they go back to Kalyn Ponga ball, where they just throw him the ball when there's nothing really on and just like, Kalyn, please do something. And Manly are able to keep him quiet. GG's Knights, Manly will absolutely run away with it, run over them, no worries at all. But if it's more so Kalyn injecting himself, calling for the ball, playing what he sees, there's a chance that it's not going to be fun for Manly at all. It might be really another, close loss, but I can see them losing this, and I can see Bradman Best just palming some bloke in the face and scoring any time. Last but not least, we roll on to another Queensland derby with the Dolphins versus the Titans. A little bit of Queensland on Queensland crime. Everyone knows Titans are going to be scrape and claw and bite and fight and trying to figure out a way to bounce back after getting annihilated last week. Dolphins, they lost. They let through a few more points, but I feel like at home, they're a pretty kind of tough team to beat. I love that Maxi Plath's coming back in as well, just like boost their depth even further. So hopefully he's able to return from injury. I think he played in the Reggies last week, so I'm sure he's going to be firing. Yeah, Titans, I feel there's going to be a please explain from the new owners and everyone involved in that, particularly from the coach, I think. I don't think the team's really changed too much, but there's no way they can roll out again what they did last week. But again, though, the Dolphins, I think they scored the most points last year. They're already scoring points this year, and I feel like nothing's really going to change in that department. So the Titans are going to have their P's and Q's about them, because if not, again, another team. You don't want to be the Eels. You don't want to be in that situation where you have 50 points on you 2 weeks in a row. That would just be terrible. And the Dolphins, they are a team that can do that. Hammer's got 3 tries in him. Trey Fuller could come out there. If Izzy Katoa's on, if Cobbo's on, if Herbie's on, they got strike everywhere. They're really going to have to bunker down in this one. And I am going to go with Hamasai Tabuai Fidel to score any time, because the man loves a meat pie. I only watched part of the game last week. Forgot if he did score. Forgive me if he did, but that's where I'm going to be going this time around. But that is pretty much it for this week. Not a whole lot of news in between, partially just because I've been busy, haven't been able to cover it. Do get around the socials. Appreciate all the support, and catch you guys next week.